Hello and welcome to Other Half Gaming. I'm Dan and we're here with a Doom review. Okay, so now I've finished Doom, I'm gonna pretty much give you my thoughts on what I thought of it. Now, I have played the other Dooms, as well as obviously the new one, as you've seen, and I like it. I at least with this, compared to the old one, should I say, where you didn't really know the story, you were just going through the levels. At least there is some sort of story and you sort of know what you're doing. Yes, you can find out the story of the other one if you did extra, reading. But this one kind of gives you exactly what's going on without needing to do anything extra. But in a good traditional Doom way, it's very gory, lots of killing, and can get very hectic. I found this one could get very hectic and frustrating. There were a few levels where I had to keep repeating fights just to try to get through them. So yeah, some of it got really frustrating, quite hectic. It was very fast paced. You couldn't just stand still a lot of the time, you had to keep moving. So I enjoyed that, I liked it. When I first started, I know the sensitivity felt way too high, but I, in the end, just got used to it. Which usually I end up reducing the sensitivity of some games. I didn't have to with this, I just got used to it in the end. It kind of went well with it, seeing it was meant to be a fast-paced game. So it did sort of make sense to be real high. And although one of the things that I thought was weird about the game was, fair enough, it introduced new bad guys quite a lot of the time, all the way through, so you didn't get too kind of static with the enemies. Didn't feel static. It didn't get boring, because after having a certain enemy for quite a while, it then threw a new one in, and then threw a new one in, and another one. But probably, I would say, without looking, probably just after halfway, it started introducing boss fights, which I thought was strange. Though I understand things like the Cyber Demon wouldn't necessarily work as a reoccurring bad guy. It was definitely a boss type monster. It was strange how it was after the halfway point we kind of got proper boss fights after that. It did seem a little bit strange, but I did like it. Though that said, the bad guys that they did introduce, at the time at least, they felt quite hard, quite difficult. But they didn't feel too easy. To be fair, even later on, some of them, like the Death Knights, every time they turned up, I ended up running away from them a lot of the time, because they got up in your face so quickly that there wasn't a lot you could do about it a lot of the time. Pinkies were just a pain in the ass the whole way through. From the moment they came in, they never really became easy. Barons of Hell, you kind of had the BFG. Or no, maybe the first few were difficult, but once you got the BFG, they became very easy. As did all demons. You usually let them all build up and then fire it off. But it got to a point where, if it thought it was, obviously where they thought it wasn't going to be hard enough, they swarmed you with enemies, and you could see that most of all with the Revenants. They swarmed them a lot, but it kept it challenging. If they didn't, the game probably would have got too easy, and I still really enjoyed it, and it made it really frustrating. The selection and variety of enemies, I think, kept it interesting as well. The multiplayer's alright. If you've watched the other videos that I've done, reviews at the end of walkthroughs, you know that I've said before I'm not much of a multiplayer person. I'm not very good at competitive multiplayer, so I'm not going to frustrate you and bore you with my attempts to try do good at it, because I know I'm not. So I think this game, this Doom game, has lived up to the Doom name really well. I think it's done really well, and it's revamped it. It's upgraded it. The same with the bad guys. They all look upgraded. They still look nasty, horrible creatures. They really do beat the shit out of you quite regularly. And yeah, it really keeps you on your toes. The whole game keeps you on your toes. And I loved it. I really did love it. There were a few bugs I experienced, but let's be honest, what game comes out today without some bugs? It wasn't game-breaking bugs, and there were very few, which is pretty good. There's not many games that come out now that are completely bug-free. So I was impressed from that aspect of it as well. Like in the one that pops to mind is the one that's in this episode. Going out is the Hell Knight that actually got stuck and it wouldn't move past a certain point, so I was able to gun him down quite easily. Other than that, I can't think of any off the top of my head, although I think there have been a few in the walkthrough. But they've not particularly stood out enough for me to remember them. But I'd say the overall experience has been great. I've enjoyed Doom as a franchise all the way through, and this game is no exception. This game is up there with the rest. In fact, I'd say this game is above the rest. I really did enjoy this one. What else can I say about it? The guns look amazing. I liked the little bits they put in. It was just a good aspect. It's not just getting a new gun. You check it over. There's a little animation for it. It's all the little details that come with it. All the little details that just make the game that little bit better. Yeah, it's not a big thing. That sort of thing is not a big thing to the game, but it's just a little detail which I thought was good. The whole thing, you can hear it, listen to it, and you think, yes, this is Doom, this is still Doom. You've got that fast pace, hard music, and you've got even the sounds of things like doors opening. It still sounds very Doom-like. You can hear it's the same game. It's not one of these games that gets rebooted and it doesn't feel like the original game. It still feels like Doom, which I'm proud and glad they did. I'm glad it's not one of those they tried to reboot and kind of strayed from the original game. Will they make another one? I hope they make another one. I'd have to say, based off of playing this one, I do hope they continue with the Doom franchise. I hope there is going to be another one coming. As I said, I loved the glory kills. Really gory, really good. A lot of the upgrades made it even gorier, like Berserk. Just really improved that. You know, Doom's got to be a gory game, hasn't it? Let's be honest. The gameplay is really easy. Controls, I think some of the buttons to start with were odd buttons to pick for certain things. But I got used to it really quickly, to be honest. It's like some of the special weapons. The chainsaw was on, for the Xbox controller at least. I can't say for any of the other ones. The Xbox controller was X for the chainsaw, Y for the BFG. Fair enough, most FPS shooters, Y is an exchange of weapons, so that one's fine, to be honest. The weapon wheel, once you get used to it, is a really nice sort of feature, because it's really easy to check what you got, and at least it lists all your ammo for it as well, so it doesn't waste your time, and it slows things down, so you're not gonna immediately die when you go into it. So there's a lot of good features in the game. The campaign I thought I did like a lot. I liked it a lot. As I like it more than the multiplayer, but we've already come across that. The Snap Map is good. I like that. People are doing some really interesting things with Snap Map. I'm interested to see what other things people bring out with that. So That could be pretty interesting to see what people come up with. You know, you give anyone a means to create something and they will go well beyond what your expectations are a lot of the time. So I'm looking forward to see what else people do. I didn't really play much of the campaign and get stuck, really. It was pretty straightforward. It was quite easy to find where I had to go. I think the worst one was climbing up the Argent Tower. I think at one point I got stuck on that really badly, and I kept going back and forward trying to find maybe a doorway. And I ended up looking up and found a platform I had to jump to. Funnily enough. But it wasn't too bad. The campaign was pretty fluid, pretty easy to find your way through. The worst bit, as I said, was it was very frustrating very frustrating and annoying having to replay some of the fights. But at least you didn't have to fall back far. You pretty much had to just start at the beginning of the fight again. So it was nice in that sense. They're going to give you a frustrating, stressful fight. At least you haven't got to do half the level again, eh? But I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it. What did you think of the game? What did you think of the game as a whole? The campaign, the snap map, the multiplayer? But I loved it. I really did enjoy it, and I'd be looking forward to seeing a second Doom. I believe, although I have seen some people calling this Doom 4, I believe this is a reboot, so it would actually be Doom 1. So I'm looking forward to seeing a Doom 2 come up. But well, who knows? We'll see. We can only hope. Overall, I don't like to rate games usually, so I'm not probably going to give you a rating at the end of this. But I would highly, if you're just seeing this review and you haven't seen the rest of the walkthrough, I'd say go back, probably check it out. At the very least, go pick up Doom. I really enjoyed it, so I'm sure you will too. But anyway, I hope you liked this video. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.